Before we begin, board members, if you're going to speak, like Kyle says, you have to reach over here or pull the microphone close to you. Okay, so. They are, yes. So, all right. So we're all set on the left, set on the right? All right. Okay. Okay, at this time, I'll call to order the Board of Education for the Muskego Norway School District. Verification of meeting posting. This meeting was posted in accordance with our state's open meeting laws. We will go through attendance roll call. Mr. Bowman.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Here.
Mrs. Cotney.
Here.
Mrs. Blair.
Here.
Mr. Buckmaster.
Here.
Mrs. Boyer.
Here.
Mr. Hyde.
Here.
And I am here.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. We've got 7 present, and we have enough to consider and pass action items. Moving on to item D, Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone who is able, please rise and join Mr. Bowman in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Bob. Okay, moving on to item E, approval of the agenda. Motion is in order.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda passes as is presented. We will skip item 2, vote for closed session, as we have already accomplished that. And we have already reconvened into open session, so we will jump to item 4, the consent agenda. A motion is in order to approve the consent agenda in gross.
Second.
And I am going to remove policy item E for individual consideration. And the way this will work is that we have a motion and a second, and I'm simply removing E for discussion. So it's treated as an action item, only that, as an action item for before the board. Okay. So being as it is now an action item before the board, I will ask if there is any public comment on item E, which are our policy revisions. And I'm assuming all the cards before me are for that. So I will read off names, and I would ask that after your name is called, please step up to the podium, state your name, and for the purpose of this, your name and city of residence is fine. And you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. And there can be no dialogue or question and answering before the board. The board will talk after all public comment is done, and if necessary, discuss and debate, and then we'll move forward. So I would ask that everyone keep their comments consistent with the policy item that we're discussing. So at this time, I will call, and please, I'm going to state these names, so I will try my hardest. Bridget Quast. If you could please approach the podium and just state your name and your city of residence, and then I will start my clock.
Okay, thank you. My name is Bridget Quast. I'm a resident of Muskego.
Thank you.
I just wanted to encourage everyone to consider protecting trans youth and their need to be heard and seen. Trans kids who don't feel they have a trusted adult are more likely to consider suicide. Sometimes the trusted adult is not at home. Sometimes the trusted adult is at school. If we ask children to approach their parents first to get permission to be able to use preferred pronouns or non-binary pronouns. Frequently, they are not met with support at home. If they are not met with support at home, those trusted adults will be their teachers. I understand the desire to have parents in the loop for things like decisions about pronouns used at school, different names used at school. But our children at the high school years are supposed to be growing away from us. They're supposed to start becoming their own people. And although parents want to be involved, I think a dialogue is better serves the situation rather than just asking permission. We have mortality rates associated with kids who are LGBTQ who don't feel heard. Tell me about the mortality rates for parents who don't feel heard. My concern is for those kids. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker, Heidi Edwards.
I'm Heidi Edwards from Muskego. Thank you. I want to begin by saying that I'm speaking as a parent of 2 students tonight. That being said, I'm finding it impossible to separate my role as an educator as I speak about what it means to care for kids and allow them to become who they are. I have been in education for over 20 years. I've worked in all levels of school from kindergarten through the 12th grade. I've been a teacher, a principal, a coach, and a mentor. And when I began teaching, there were things that were not a part of best practice or even considered best for kids. Over time, however, we as professionals read, grow, adapt, and it always hinges on what's best for kids. When we know better, we've always done better. I have always trusted that when all stakeholders in this district discuss changes, we did so with the well-being of kids in mind. That being said, Guideline 8330 does not have the best interests of students in mind. The board has an opportunity here to do better. I've reached out to everyone on the board, and I appreciate so much all of your replies, but I am still frustrated by your stance that this guideline is even necessary. One of my concerns about 8330 is that it seeks to provide a solution to a non-problem. The guideline implies that people in district are able to change students' identities and claims a lack of transparency. I would like to clarify that no teacher is able to change anything about your student in Infinite Campus. While I'm sure there are people who can, I am not able to do this, and neither are your kids' teachers. As a parent in the district, my child being called by a different name by their own request is not a lack of transparency. I see that as educational professionals following best practice of what we know saves the lives of our LGBTQIA students and helps them to know they are loved and cared for. If someday my own children don't yet feel comfortable sharing who they are with me, I trust an adult at our school to help them. I would rather have my kids trust someone than feel they have no one. The adults who work with both of my kids in this district have always loved, supported, and guided them. 3 years ago, we debated about masks, and one of our central arguments was the mental health of our students. We said they were raising suicide and depression rates. I am bringing the same argument to you tonight. Please see it in the same light. My 2 children and every child in this district deserve the individual freedom and autonomy to become who they are supposed to be. This guideline prevents students from accessing this freedom. We as parents have the luxury of making whatever choices we want for our kids. However, educators are held to a higher standard. Our obligation of mandated reporting and certification by the state assures that we must legally function in the role of doing what is best for kids. All research says that acknowledging a student's request for a preferred name or pronoun is the right thing to do. Please don't ask our educators to do what we know is damaging to students. We as a district have the ability to do better. Please do so.
Okay, Corey Huston.
Yep, Muskego resident. As a member of the Muskego area community, I am here to express my support for AG 8330. I am in favor of the clarification that this policy will give for faculty and staff and the affirmation of parental rights. In addition, I have reviewed the public meetings and some of the comments here tonight, and I would still like to raise my objection to the argument that AG 8330 somehow would endanger certain protected groups. Opponents to the guideline can't claim that it would be harmful to the concept of safe spaces. This is false. Parents may have differing concepts of what a safe space at school means. Most parents I have spoken to hold a similar idea about the concept of a safe space. That being a place where a teen can go to vent, to talk about challenges at school, and things of that nature. No parent that I know believes the definition of safe space should include, or could include, a place where a teacher gives his or her own opinion to a child, or the school's opinion of major life issues with long-lasting consequences without the knowledge or consent of the parents. Those opinions or beliefs may be at odds with parental beliefs or guidance on how they want to raise their child, and it would be wrong to advise the child under those circumstances. I want the school district to assist in my child's education, not to oppose my principles or beliefs in how I should raise my child. In that regard, not instituting the guideline would change what would be harmful to the concept of safe spaces. If a safe space means somewhere that my child is advised on important life decisions without my knowledge or consent, and contrary to my wishes, then safe spaces have no place in a school. If notifying the school in writing the discussion of certain topics with their child without their knowledge and consent of the information conveyed is prohibited. Perhaps some liability would attach based on school actions and outcome. In some cases, safe spaces might be jeopardized. The proposed guideline protects safe spaces, and failure to enact the guideline would jeopardize both safe spaces and the legitimacy of the school district. With regard to life-altering decisions like gender identity, trans identity, and all the issues associated with the subject, advice from school personnel should focus on assisting and encouraging a teen with discussing the subject with parents. The stress and anxiety related to issues such as gender identity will continue to cause problems for a teenager the longer the child has to hide the issue from parents and delay seeking guidance and assistance from parents. Hiding a child's problem or concerns from parents will delay resolution of the problem and extend the confusion a child may be experiencing. Thank you.
Mitchell Brockman.
Hello, Mitchell Brockman, Wind Lake. Hi everyone, my name is Mitchell Brockman. I'm a science teacher, educator, and an advocate for LGBTQ youth and students in my high school and all across the community. The following comes from the Muskego Norway School District website. It says, we bring our mission to life each and every day across the system. And it goes on to say that schools here cultivate a learning environment that personalizes, nurtures, and holds students to rigorous expectations. Students increase their capacity and build their confidence and help them realize their dreams and aspirations. I'd like to ask the board, and I realize you can't answer this hypothetical question, I guess. I'd like you to ask the board to provide direct evidence how withholding a student's preferred pronouns help in assisting that personalized education, how that nurtures the students, how it builds their confidence, and how it helps them realize their dreams and aspirations. Also from the Muskego Norway School District website, it says, we prioritize and focus our efforts to enhance academic literacy. The research shows that having supportive teachers, a gay straight alliance, LGBTQ affirming policies improves student literacy as well. Also from the website, it says, Muskego Norway School District prioritizes safety in students, families, and staff. And I'd ask you again to think about how to provide direct evidence, scientifically backed evidence on how these policies that you're trying to enact improve the safety of these individuals in your school district. On the subject of safety, the National Education Association on Why Pronouns Matter says the power of short, simple words can make a classroom safer and empower LGBTQ youth students. By requiring LGBTQ youth to potentially be outed by their school, you are actively harming a person's mental and potentially their physical health. I'd like to again ask how this policy prioritizes a student's safety. By forcing them to come out to their parents, it may create an unsafe environment at home, not at their school. From Children's Health down in Texas, using correct pronouns for LGBTQ youth people shows respect and inclusiveness. Is the Muskego Norway School District okay with being openly disrespectful and closing off to their students? There are people in this room who have very high levels of education. Some may have a PhD in education, Masters of Science in Psychology, or Bachelors of Science in Psychology, and there may even be former school counselors here as well. From the UW-Milwaukee website, they quote, "It's a privilege to not have to worry about a pronoun someone will use. If you have this privilege, yet fail to respect someone else's gender identity, it is not only disrespectful and hurtful, but also oppressive." That policy, or that prior statement, does not align with the Muskego Norway School District policies. The American Psychological Association, which is home to 118,000 members and the largest scientific group of professionals, agrees with the use of personal pronouns as well. We love this community, we live here, and we would love to give the benefit of the doubt that any student could openly come out to their parents, but we know that that is not the case, and the statistics provide that, or prove that. This policy creates an unnecessarily safe environment at home, and I would love for you to rethink your plans. Thank you.
Kyle Stewart.
My name is Kyle Stewart. I'm a resident of Muskego. My biggest concern, well, first of all, I'm here to show support for the policy change to AG 8330, which I think is in the best interest of parents and families. And what I would like to say is this discussion right now is being framed in terms of doing what is best for children. And of course, we do need to do what is best for children. But children are a part of families. First and foremost, our community is made up of families, which includes parents and includes children. And it is the responsibility of parents to do what is in the best interest of their children. And I understand that they may disagree. I disagree with my own children all of the time. And yet I love them and care about them and want to do what's best for them. And this policy, what it does is continue to affirm the ability of parents to support and have conversations with their children about the choices that they want to make. It doesn't prevent them from having a trusted adult that they can go to at school, but that trusted adult at school should redirect them back to their parents to facilitate a discussion about what is best for that particular child. And in high school, children are still children. These are 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids who are trying to do their best to make decisions, but I think we can all agree that the decisions we made in high school are not necessarily the ones that we stuck with for the rest of our lives, and that is why they need help from a parent or a guardian who has more wisdom and can help them along that journey. And so ultimately, this is a policy that helps to affirm the family and the role of parents in a child and a student's life, which ultimately strengthens our community because our community is made up of families. And it isn't so much, I don't think, an issue of safety and disrespect, because we can still remain respectful and keep kids safe while still affirming the role of parents in parenting their kids. Thank you.
Aslan Boras? Is that correct? It's Aslan Boros. Ah, thank you. And it was Angel Schulte, right? Schutte. And you two wanted to be together, right? Okay.
All right, this is an anonymous letter that,
Just so we're clear, your students.
yes, we are students at Muskego High School.
For freshmen.
This is an anonymous letter we have gotten from a Muskego High School senior. To say the least, I am afraid. I am in a time where all I can do, all I can will my body to do, is watch with bated breath as this unfolds. I have done my best to be brave, but I am made still at this point. As a teenager in the midst of struggling, of questioning my gender, I feel lost. I feel as though the options that I have to figure myself out are being stripped away right in front of me. It is a sense of impending doom, a sense of nakedness before something with such a greater power than me. Just as I think I have found answers, trying to speak out about those feelings is paralyzing. I come from a place of fear to begin with. I spent most of my life in a different school district. I had to move, however, to escape the rampant bullying targeting my identity. I had not a name besides gay kid and faggot. I transferred to Muskego and felt safe for such a fleeting moment. I felt safe, and then with one fell swoop, one policy introduced, I didn't. I am left to wonder, am I back where I started? As little paper balls are thrown at my head, as my friends, as the freshmen of my community are relentlessly mocked, I wonder, what was it all for, coming all this way? The stability I had was a wonderful feeling when it was once mine. Now I wonder if it is just another thing I must wait until college for. I tell myself, college will be better. College will allow me the freedom I wish so badly for. And yet, still college feels so far away. I feel so infinitely small, and college is so far out of my reach still. Even so, I hope that I can find that feeling of safety again. I feel it around my friends. I feel safe watching the pure, unbridled bravery of my friends who can stand up here and read this in the way I cannot. My friends are so brave that I am inspired to say this, even just behind the safety of pen and paper. I am a trans kid. I am a trans kid even if I cannot come out. Even if I cannot come out because of policies and parents and bullying and a lifetime of fear. I am a trans kid, and I hope that one day I can stand up here in front of you two and say this out loud. One day.
Scott? Is it B-A-S-O-S? Is that?
No, it's Barros.
But Scott Barros. Thank you, sir.
I'm a father of a student that goes to Muskego. Look, I understand this is all change. This is all different. But I'm concerned about the safety of anything. The safety of my child, of other childs. I've heard of bullying, spitting. So I think as leaders, we need to make sure that we're taking care of our kids that way. So no matter what happens with this rule, no matter what you guys vote for, we need to make sure, because I don't see it and I don't hear it, about what is going to happen to these kids who are being bullied. And it's easy to bully them because they're an identifiable group of kids, at least most of them, those that have been unafraid to come out. So I just hope that we're going to do the right thing, that we're going to take care of these kids, because while you may not think taking care of them is letting them have the freedom to choose how they're called, the name, or their pronouns, we should make sure that they have the freedom to be safe. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Jason Zerbarski? Zerbarski.
Jason Zaborski, resident of Muskego, father of two in the schools. I'm here to state my support for the policy change. In all the research that I've done for this policy, there is nothing about this policy that prevents bullying from happening, doesn't put it to a stop. The kids that face these challenges, it comes from a different place. This policy is designed to help get parents re-engaged on an issue that really requires more attention than just getting teachers involved. All it does is create a space where everything that's learned there, if it's not safe at home, it's all contained in the school. How do they deal with things outside of school? They hide everything away at home. Teachers here are trained as mandated reporters. If there's an unsafe situation at home because of something that's going on at home, it should be reported. I don't see how this policy could negatively affect people. There's nothing about it being unsafe, and in fact, it doesn't prevent them from using it. It just says that an educator can't use the preferred pronouns without the parent's consent. There's nothing that stops them from being safe in the schools. I don't understand why this is being viewed as an unsafe situation where people are put at risk for something that they're having challenges with. It's unfortunate, but the bigger problem is the bullying, the issues that they deal with, not just in the school, but they go out with their friends, they go out to a movie, whatever it might be. It's not going to stop here, and stopping a policy here isn't going to help that. It actually probably will make it worse. So my support is fully on AG 8330. I think you guys are doing a great job, and this is, again, to help build a tighter trust with the parents and trying to get the parents involved in what's going on with the kids, what's best for them. Thank you.
Maxine Learned.
Again. You know what? I'm just going to take it like this. This is the way I feel most comfortable. I feel sorry for parents today that have to explain the birds and the bees, the bees and the bees, the birds and the birds that used to be bees, the bees that used to be birds, the birds that look like bees, plus the bees that look like birds but still have their stinger. Seriously, you can't make this up. I'm just troubled that the board even has to take the time to discuss a policy, whereas a parent must be notified if a minor, and the key word here is minor, wants to change his or name pronouns. What's the common denominator in all relationships? It is trust. You want to establish a solid relationship with your parents and teachers, but if you withhold vital information regarding their child, then that trust is gone. It is the parent's responsibility and the right to question everything that goes on in their child's school, and it is the board's responsibility to protect those parents' rights. After all, they are the legal guardians. How did we get here? Where did all this transgenderism come from? Is it a cultural phenomenon, or is it a well-designed program put in place by DPI? I say DPI planted the seeds a long time ago with a program called Social Emotional Learning that has gender identities inserted in that program. Let's travel back in time. Let's go to the first day of kindergarten, and the teacher introduces a colorful rainbow unicorn and informs these little ones that you can not only be a boy or girl, but many genders, followed by a storybook hour where A is for Apple and L is for LGBTQ. Moving on down the road, data mining by the use of questionnaires, surveys, straight out of the gate. The first question is, what gender do you identify as? Again, reinforcing to that child that you can be multiple genders while you flood classrooms with diversity, equity, inclusions, flags, stickers. Now as we approach middle school, we can be easily confused about our body as there's multiple things that are happening. Throw in anxiety, depression, peer pressure, social media, And this very vulnerable child, if is not have a good home life, is looking for some void, something to replace that void. Now you have a fraction of students who are confused about their biological sex, who have a legitimate psychological condition. You must treat them with respect and compassion, but not with indulgence. Teachers' job is to teach, not attempt to parent a child and conceal what's going on in the classroom from the parents. We also need to stop exposing our youth to books that propagate young students into believing it's okay to change your gender or to identify as whatever you want. NEA, National Education Association, is promoting alphabet sex and lifestyle practices among school children through a new badge worn by educators and created by NEA LGBTQ Caucus. This is not the direction we want to go into. Please do the right thing and enforce this policy. Thank you.
Okay, Casey Hine.
Casey Hine, resident of Muskego. I have lived in Muskego my whole life. I have 4 children, 2 of which have graduated from Muskego, 2 of which are at Muskego High School currently. In addition to that, I've been a teacher and educator for 27 years. As a parent and educator, I support the amendment to Policy AG 8330 that requires parent permission for any change to a student's personal information. To put it very simply, I do not believe that a child should be making such a significant decision without parent knowledge and/or consent. Also, I do not believe that a teacher should be expected to help that student make this important, life-changing decision without the input and guidance from the parent. I feel that this policy would be a bridge to and an opportunity to continue the conversation or even initiate the conversation between the children and the parents. As an educator, I feel like keeping this information from a parent or going against a parent's wishes is not only inappropriate, but also not in the child's best interest. Lastly, I do have loved ones, friends, and family in the LGBTQ community. I fully support their decisions to make their own choices. I cannot, however, support children making these life-changing choices without parental involvement.
Okay, thank you, everyone, for those who spoke, those who observed. I appreciate the respect that everyone modeled. At this time, public comment is done. The Board of Education will now discuss. And at this time, let me just go through. This is just some history. This is the third and final reading of this policy item. So at this point, having discussed this twice before, having had public comment 3 times, I will then call on around the board. So Mr. Bowman, any comments?
I do. Thanks, Chris. So the decision to support this policy is an easy one for me. A school district's responsibility is to provide resources and support for our children's education in the community. The responsibility of the parent, however, is for the whole child, including their well-being and safety, instilling their philosophy, morals, and beliefs, and being responsible for their education. From the time they are born to the age of 18, parents and guardians are both legally accountable and morally responsible for their children, and the Constitution protects these rights. I have 2 children, and they are my and my wife's responsibility. If I, as a parent, found out the district violated the trust I put in them to tell me everything that happens at school concerning my child, and somehow felt they were more competent and concerned about the safety of my child than we were, I would undoubtedly assert my right as a parent and find an alternative for their education. I continue to hear that notifying parents is damaging to a child's mental health and safety, and I've received several communications that homes can be hostile and dangerous. When the suggestion is made that parents are unsafe to trust because of the information they may disagree with their child's decisions, it's frankly offensive to me as a parent. The safest place for my child to be is my home. As a school board member, I will not stand by anything less than full support of a parent's right to know everything about their child. As a school district, taking the place of parents by hiding information under the guise of that somehow we mandate to keep certain information from parents due to safety concerns is a slippery slope and one that the district has no business doing. As to the questions about why now and why necessary, you only need to look at other districts that have adopted opposite positions, much to the dismay of parents. This policy is in response to that and to give confidence to parents that we are going to stay in our swim lane and notify you when things change with your child so that you can love them, support them, guide them, and own their education. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mrs. Boyer.
Well, I don't have anything prepared. I've got a lot of communications from a lot of different people. I am absolutely floored that anybody would think that they have the right to keep something away from me as a parent. Absolutely floored. I will not, and I will never support that. If I ever found out a teacher kept something from me, they don't even know what goes on in my house. I can't even fathom that. I will support this policy change. Parent rights are the most important thing, the trust that teachers and parents have together. No one steps in that parent role, ever. Having said that, I see how you want to turn this to we don't support kids making choices. We do. And I will be the fiercest person to fight the bullies that bully you. I will stand there. I will fight that. But I will not take the rights away from parents to be involved in those decisions. So I do 100% support the policy change.
Thank you, Terry. Mrs. Blair.
Hello. All right, first off, I want to thank everyone who showed up tonight to give their opinions about this policy change. This is a comment or a response that I gave to pretty much most of the people that reached out to me. First and foremost, as I stated at the November board meeting, I truly believe that we have amazing teachers, administrators, and support staffs that encourage and create the most welcoming environment for all of our students in the Muskego Norway School District. We are very fortunate to have a district that not only educates our students at the highest level, but they also care about them very much. I appreciate you sharing your story with us, and I'm happy to hear that everyone feels supported within our school district. Regarding the policy of 8330, I have heard from teachers, counselors, and administration, and I also believe that putting parents in the process leads to an environment of open communication with the student, parent, and school district. The student has the opportunity to seek assistance from the school district's counselors if they are troubled with approaching their parents about the situation. I hope this process will help in getting the assistance and help that the student needs. Therefore, I will continue to listen and support what the district feels is the most appropriate way to handle the situation. The process that the students noted in the December meeting is exactly what this policy encourages, a process of working through the requests and wants of the students. I don't see how encouraging dialogue with all parties is a bad idea. I am also aware of the studies show regarding suicide, and most, if not all, report communication as a leading cause of preventing it from occurring. So I appreciate again that everybody came out tonight, but I will support this policy.
Thank you, See, Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Mr. Buckmaster. You might want to put the 3-minute timer on me. I might get a little deep on this.
I don't think I'm allowed to time us.
I'll try and be brief.
I don't think the board has granted you that.
I'm going to recap much of what I said in many of the emails that I sent out. The parent-student dynamic is the single most important part of a child's education, period. They're the primary educators. They've raised their children up to the age of 4. They teach them their values. They teach them pretty much anything the school doesn't. We have, as a school district, those students in our schools for approximately 1,100 hours per year. The rest of the time, they're the parents' responsibilities, both for education and everything else. Many of the emails I received seem to indicate that the authors thought the schools exist, that the parents were there to raise the kids for the schools, when in reality, the schools exist to educate the students for the parents. The parents are the primary driver. They decide everything for our students, whether they're going to go to public school, private school, homeschooled, what extracurricular activities are they going to be involved in. They decide pretty much everything. It's our teachers that help guide and direct them in their education for math, science, reading, writing, everything else that the state and our school district feels is necessary. The biggest problem, I think, with not providing that information to the parents is that they would find out soon enough anyways. If we're started addressing a student in a class by a different name or pronoun, it's not going to be that long before the parent would find out. The teacher could make a slip in correspondence or during a conference. Other students in the class are going to speak to their parents, and their parents are, at least a couple of them, are going to know these other parents. It's not going to last long. And I know trying to cover up and mask something is worse when the truth comes out. When that hits, it's the child's going to be in an even worse situation than what we would have been trying to avoid. And I'm going to conclude with this. I talked to Mrs. Branson a couple times, and we have very talented and very dedicated psychologists and social workers in the district. And they are more than willing to help the students facilitate discussions with the parents. And I would hope that if there is a fear of their parents at home, that the social workers and the psychologists are going to work to solve that issue, and if need be, report it to the proper authorities. Now, I hope it wouldn't get that far. I hope the parents would be open, willing, and maybe reluctantly accepting of the child's decision, but it is still the parent and the child's decision to make together. Thank you.
Mrs. Cotney.
According to a research article in Psychology Today in 2020, when parents are more involved in their children's education, those children do better academically, socially, and behaviorally. Research and personal experiences tell us children do better in school and life when they have supportive and healthy home lives, trust with parents, and the support of family and friends. Support and trust cannot develop without relationships, and relationships can't develop without knowledge, discussion, and involvement. Children need to have trust and a good relationship with parents and family first and foremost, to be healthy overall and to do well in school. In a Supreme Court decision, Meyer versus Nebraska, it was upheld that parents have a legal right to raise their children and know what is happening with them in school. Specifically, the decision stated, parents have the legal right to control the education of their children, and furthermore, in Pierce versus the Society of Sisters, also via the Supreme Court, upheld the liberty of parents in the educational process. Research and personal experiences, along with a legal system, inform us that it is most healthy that parents be involved with their children's lives in education. Therefore, educational systems must uphold the laws which allow parents to do so. This policy upholds the legal and ethical right of parents and is in the best interest of their children, because it is through love, communication, trust, that we have healthy children that become healthy adults. Thank you.
Mr. Zimmerman.
First, I want to say I completely agree with this policy and back it 100%. Parents' rights are paramount. Parents are the kids' first educators, which was already stated before. Parents have the kids 16 hours out of the 24-hour day, and every day, all day, school is only for 9 months out of the year. I feel that we will not and should not never hide any information from parents. And in the end, schools have these children just to educate them, teach them the basics, reading, writing, math, and science, and everything they need to know to succeed in life. In the end, these students are minors. Kids change their mind on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis, on how they feel. 1 minute, they want to be Superman. The next minute, they want to be Spider-Man. You can't rely on what they want to be today, because tomorrow it's probably going to be different. If a student feels that they want to use a pronoun or change their name in the school, we have dedicated staff in our school, as in social workers and psychiatrists. They can do a meeting with their parents and come out that way. That way it's in a safe place, as everybody's been saying that they need safe places. And we have professionals that can help guide that conversation and have professionals that can help if the outcome is not what the student is looking for. In the end, parents have the rights to know what goes on in their children's school 100% of the time. Like other board members say, if one of my kids' parents were hiding information from my kids, Daddy Bear would come out, and you wouldn't like that. If I found out from secondhand, the school would have a price to pay, up into whatever I can do to fix it.
Mr. Zimmerman. Lastly, I'll just add, and I won't repeat, we've been through this for 3 times now. So this policy simply solidifies our district's commitment to full transparency between our district and our parents. Our goal has always been to work with and engage parents hand in hand, and that's with our parents, our teachers, and our staff to provide the best education experience that the Muskego Norway School District can for their child. And we believe that it is imperative that this relationship is grounded in trust, and concealing information about their child, a minor, is counterproductive to that goal. And for me, I will support this policy change. So, ended discussion on this. I will ask for, I'll call the question, and I will ask for a roll call vote, please. Yes, yes.
Are we voting, we are voting on the entire consent agenda?
Right, we are, correct. Thank you for that. So we are voting on the entire consent agenda, including this policy that was just discussed. Everyone is clear on that, right? Okay. So call the vote. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Zimmerman? Mrs. Cotney? Mrs. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Buckmaster?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyer? Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
And I am a yes.
All right, we have 7 yeses. Okay, having 7 yeses in favor, the motion, the consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for your time. All right, moving on to item 5. Wait, am I right? Yes, yes. Thank you. Item 5, student representation. Mr. White.
So at Muskego High School, they hosted an annual career fair, and this gave students the opportunity to speak with professionals in the career path aligned with their academic and career goals. FBLA completed their winter wear collection of hats, boots, mittens, scarves, jackets, and all items were donated to those in need. Student Council hosted their first ever Snowtacular event, where families from the community were brought together through holiday games and activities. This past month, the Warrior Bots team was able to travel to Termont, Illinois to compete at the Robotier Rumble off-season event. At the competition, the team lost in the quarterfinals as the 6th Alliance captain with 2 other Wisconsin teams. Freshman orientation was held on January 11th, and this event provided insight to what it means to be a warrior and how students can make the most out of their high school experience. Boys swim and dive took first place at the Rocket Invite, scoring a total of 428 points. 28 HOSA members competed at the Regional Leadership Conference this past weekend, and we are still waiting for our results, but students placing in the top 15 in their event will advance to the State Leadership Conference in April. Girls and boys wrestling competed at the Lancer Invite. The girls team took first overall, and the boys team took second. Boys basketball defeated Oconomowoc last Friday, making their overall season record 10-2. Students are beginning to select their new courses for the upcoming school year, and there will be a course information night held for students and families to come in and talk to teachers about their class options. High school students will be performing the Newsies musical later next month, and tickets are currently being sold for the play. At Lake Danoon, National Junior Honor Society is organizing a service project in January for the Herbin House, which is a local homeless shelter in Waukesha. The choir had their winter concert at the Muskego High School Performing Arts Center. The boys basketball team played at their end of the season playoffs, placing 4th overall in the league. All 8th grade students received their pre-ACT scores back from the November 1st test. And the PTO hosted a fundraising night at Maddie's Barn Grill on January 5th. At Muskego Lakes, they hosted a holiday toy drive the week leading up to Christmas, and all the collected toys were donated to Toys for Tots. Muskego Lakes Middle School will be performing an Aladdin Junior play, and tickets are also currently being sold. Students came together as a school at a PBIS assembly, and at the assembly, students were acknowledged for various reasons, such as their involvement in clubs, musical and sports, showing integrity, and more. And the school officers started DARE lessons with the 5th grade students. In this program, students will develop good decision-making skills to help lead them to a safe and healthy life. At Bay Lane, they are currently offering after-school theater lessons, and this program allows students to focus on developing imagination, social skills, and a positive self-image through performing arts. The 2023 Kids Heart Challenge was kicked off with a 1st through 4th grade assembly on January 10th. This challenge involves learning about heart health, as well as raising funds to help fight against heart disease and stroke. The Bay Lane PTO hosted a pool party for students and family on Thursday last week at the Muskego High School pool. At Lakeview, Destination Imagination is now being offered, and students will have the chance to explore, collaborate, and create solutions to fun and engaging academic challenges. Students also participated in a school-wide reading challenge over winter break. The PTO will also be hosting a glow dance later next month for all students to get together and attend. At Mill Valley, they are offering after-school science programs through SPY Academy. Students will have the chance to participate in fun, hands-on science experiments and activities. The Songs of Peace Winter Concert is going to be held on the 19th, later next week. Mill Valley is also offering an after-school Taekwondo program early next month, and students will expand their skills on focus, discipline, respect, and stranger danger. Mill Valley is also offering after-school theater classes, and students will have the chance to play theater games, explore stage skills, and learn a group song or scene from a popular Broadway musical.
Thank you, Mr. Wyatt. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for sharing. Thanks.
Other than great job on the swim meet, and how, yeah, that was awesome. And how cool is it that the musical is Newsies, right? I mean, is that like the coolest thing? Yeah, it's cool, right? I mean, you can just see the excitement here, right? Okay, so that's one of my favorites, so it's cool. So, but thank you. Okay, moving on. Item 6, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Thompson.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Oh, you're good. First of all, thank you very much, Lakeview, for hosting our meeting this evening and for dinner. And we really enjoyed the opportunity to have dinner with staff and with students, so it was really lovely. Tonight, Lakeview will be sharing with the board their annual report, and I turn it over to Laura, the principal.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're here again a year ago, right? So Laura Shanahan, building principal here at Lakeview. I am excited to share with you all the events that have taken place since we met a year ago. So we'll let that warm up. Right. Before we formally begin, and oh, is that at the top, Ryan? Let's see. I have to figure out which tab it is. Look at it. Before I formally begin, I really want to introduce and recognize a few people who made tonight's event possible. So Scott and Shar, our custodians, have done an amazing job setting up. Taylor Bowley, our Phi Ed teacher, for being very flexible with the space today. And then my amazing staff for staying tonight. So thank you guys very much. All right, so let's get started. So our theme tonight is around showcasing our story. So no doubt we've grown over the past several years, and we strive to serve the whole child while making Lakeview a desirable place to work and learn. So we've been very diligent in our daily efforts, open to new ways of knowing and doing, and operating as a cohesive team. Our agenda for this evening, we are going to showcase some of the facility upgrades while preparing for new construction. We're going to be reviewing our survey data from our stakeholder groups, and then we're going to provide an overview towards our student achievement data from the 21-22 school year. And then we're going to lastly give you a glimpse how we foster a positive learning environment for our students and staff. All right, so the first segment of tonight's presentation, the Lakeview staff and myself would like to start off by thanking our district administrators, our school board members, and the community for your ongoing support towards making building improvements. So several building updates that happened this past summer were modernizing the 4 main student bathrooms. Then we upgraded the tile wall in the kindergarten hallway to get it a pop of color. And then we enhanced the sign outside to make it a digital platform. Looking ahead, the passing of the spring 2022 referendum has ignited planning and excitement towards the new gymnasium. So on behalf of all the Lakeview staff and students, we take great pride in our school. Big or small, every improvement matters. Our next chapter of tonight's presentation is around our survey data. So I'll be highlighting our parents, students, and employee survey data that tells a story how we engage each stakeholder group. All right, kicking it off with our parent satisfaction survey. Our scores have steadily increased over the past few years. We invest in our families to develop a strong partnership between home and school. We believe that when staff members, parents, and caregivers collaborate, it leads to a positive impact on student achievement, behavior, attendance, and overall attitude towards learning in school. Having a strong relationship with families builds a noticeable sense of pride throughout the greater school community. All right, so we believe through our strategic action planning, our successes can be attributed to streamlining our communication, specifically in regard to the frequency and consistency of our newsletters, positive contacts home, and celebrating student achievement. Also, feedback and academic progress updates occur frequently. We strive to celebrate academic, behavior, and social milestones specific to each student. Indicated on our parent survey, there is a noticeable sense of pride of the students, parents, and families towards being part of the Lakeview community. They believe learning is a high priority, and they're generally proud to call Lakeview home. An opportunity for growth that has been an area of focus for the past few years is ensuring parents are receiving regular feedback on how their child is learning. Our staff has developed a variety of ways to contact and share academic progress, and thus far we've acquired several actions that have yielded positive feedback and will continue to use going forward. All right, next is our student satisfaction survey. It's evidenced by our steady scores. We strive to promote a positive learning environment where all students feel supported, safe, and cared for. We believe that strong instruction coupled with extracurricular opportunities creates a well-rounded experience for our students. All right, referencing our annual survey data, the students demonstrate an overall happiness and a sense of belonging here at Lakeview. Specific action items that have generated the positive responses are staff members showing a genuine care and concern for them. They get their students celebrated milestones happen often and in a variety of ways. They want to be recognized for their ongoing efforts and that are frequent and timely. Then we also have generated a slew of extracurricular activities for students to engage in. Here's to name a few: dance team, warrior writing club, math munch club, art club, dragon council, choir, recorder club, lunch bunch, girls on the run, and the mentorship program. It's important to note that all these extracurricular activities are generated and supervised by the Lakeview staff on their own accord. An area of focus for us that we're going to be continuing to hone in on is respect and behavior. Our PBS team will continue to monitor student data and use it to plan for ways that we can strengthen student-to-student interaction. All right, lastly, I want to touch upon our engagement survey for employees. And while we didn't have official results for the spring 2022 survey, it's evident that the culture and climate at Lakeview has grown tremendously. There's no magic formula for a great school culture. Simply treat your colleagues the way you want to be treated and have fun. The staff has cultivated an environment where we bring out the best in each other and face obstacles with the lens to grow. While generating an action plan around the employee engagement survey, 3 categories emerged. First was for feedback and expectations. Staff appreciate knowing the expectations ahead of time, and when the bar has been set, people rise to the challenge. We support each other through ongoing recognition, and it helps employees build a sense of security in their value to the school, which motivates them to continue to do great work. For process and resources, staff has shared that they appreciate the weekly and monthly times for each stakeholder group to meet. This helps align our practices and ensure everyone has a voice and choice. And this is how we operate here at Lakeview, because we capitalize on the shared leadership model. Lastly, it's paramount to build a community of trust. Knowing that the people around you are genuinely concerned for your welfare makes all the difference. We strive to promote a culture of learning, growth, and a community on a daily basis. One area that we're continuing to grow in and explore is the frequency between classroom teachers, interventionists, and educational assistants to collaborate more often regarding Tier 1 instruction. All right, our next chapter of our presentation shifts our focus towards the students and their achievements. All right, so we are proud to share that at Lakeview, we have earned the score of a 90.2 on the state report card, placing us in the significantly exceeds expectations category. In just 5 years, 4 report cards later, Lakeview has made a 23-point gain. So no doubt, with a talented and committed staff, we are proud to showcase our vision for every student learning, growing, and succeeding within the walls of Lakeview. All right, specifically for reading achievement, 72.8% of our 3rd and 4th grade students demonstrate proficiency or advance on the Wisconsin Forward exam. These scores place Lakeview number 3 in Waukesha County for ELA. And strategic actions that we feel contribute to these results are spiraling key skills around standards of focus, analyzing STAR data to develop targeted interventions, engaging in brunch and learns and professional development, launching phonics boot camps to build essential foundational skills, and lastly, working collectively in our PLC teams to monitor student progress and understanding of ELA standards. All right, in mathematics, for the 21-22 school year, Lakeview had a 93.2% of our 3rd and 4th grade students demonstrate proficient advance on the Wisconsin Forward exam. These scores place Lakeview as number 1 in Waukesha County. So strategic actions that we feel led to these results are spiraling key skills and standards of focus, analyzing STAR data to develop target and specific interventions for students, conduct a diagnostic assessment through AVMR, and teachers working diligently in their professional learning communities to monitor student progress. All right, we're committed towards generating an atmosphere here where students belong, matter, and excel both in and out of the classroom. Our community can be characterized by focused, energized, and collaborative. There's no doubt that we love to have fun. So, with that, evidenced by our school dance parties, assemblies, annual turkey trot, PBIS incentives, we enjoy coming together and celebrating one another. We promote team building on a regular basis because we believe we have a strong school community that provides a sense of trust, accountability, and confidence for everyone to reach their full potential. All right, with that being said, this is just the beginning of our story. As building principal, I'm incredibly honored to work alongside such a talented and committed group of teachers. And we are proud of the work that's been done, yet we understand that we have a continuous journey of improvement ahead of us. So each chapter tonight does confirm that Lakeview is a small school with a big heart and having a lasting impact. So there you go.
Any questions from the board or comments?
I'll just make a comment like I did last year. This is my home school, right? This is where my kiddos went, so there's a special place in my heart for Lakeview. And I am incredibly happy to see the 5-year progress that you guys have made. And the culture of the teaching staff and everybody here transcends beyond when they are just in elementary school. My daughter continues to connect with teachers here, enjoys just finding out what life is all about with the teachers and what's going on. And that goes to the culture and what you as a teaching staff have done with the little ones here. So the report card shows it, that it's just made a turnaround, and incredibly happy for you guys. So thank you so much.
Outstanding job, usual. It's always great to see the steady progress, and getting above 90, that is just impressive.
Yeah, I've seen this growth over the time of being on the board, and you can tell there's a difference, which is amazing, just amazing. I can't wait till next year to see the jump, too.
And I want to say, this is just such a happy place. You know, it's like every time I walk in here, you just can't not be happy. And then you see all these beautiful colors and pictures and art on the walls. So thank you for hosting us and having a fun time with dinner.
Great job.
Thank you, Laura.
Fantastic. A lot of hard work.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate it. The next agenda item on the superintendent's report is a request for board members who may be interested in diploma distribution at the high school's graduation, which is scheduled for Sunday, June 11th at 10:30 at the Inpro Stadium. So if you're interested, you can let Lori know. She'll collect those names, and we'll let the high school know. If anybody knows right now, you can say it right now. Okay. Tracy? Yeah.
I'll help too.
Brett, Terry?
I'm also going to want to be there.
Okay.
Even though I won't be on the board at that point, but still, thank you, yes, thank you. So I would like some consensus here that I'm going to be there, okay, so, thank you, yes, Brett, okay.
I plan on being there if I can get off of work, but I'm gonna try my hardest to find something to work for me, so.
Once you know for sure, you can let Lori know, because then they add you to the bulletin.
Will do.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you on behalf of the high school. With regard to the last item on the superintendent's report, which is contributions to the profession, we have Jim Mishlig here, who was part of the Association for Career and Technical Education Career Tech Vision Conference. So thank you to him for presenting and being part of our leadership team. So that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Moving on, item 7, other reports. President's report. I honestly have none on this one, so I will, thank you, yes, thank you. Moving, okay, hang on. Okay.
You compose yourself?
Yes, let me compose myself. Okay, moving on. Clerk's report.
2 school board seats are up on the ballot in the spring 2023 election. The 3 candidates have declared their candidacy prior to the 5 p.m. deadline on January 3rd, 2023. Candidates in ballot order are Kyle Stewart, Jason Zamborski, and Robert Bowman. February primary election will not be necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. And board member reports. Mr. Zimmerman. No. Mrs. Con. Mrs. Blair.
I attached the CISA 1 update for January. We actually had our meeting last Tuesday because of the WASB conference, which is going on this week, which I will be attending as the representative for CISA 1. So.
Thank you for adding that math fluency.
Oh, yes.
Portion. That was good.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bowman.
No.
Mrs. Boyer. Sorry. Okay. Mr. Hyde.
Just a reminder that the education convention is this week, and who's our delegate for the delegate assembly?
Yeah, he's got to work. We'll get somebody else there.
Okay. Just a reminder that whoever it is, it's important that they know what the board, if there's any consideration. So I don't know if anybody's looked at it. There's a lot this year. But it's important because this is what directs the lobbyists for the WASB. So, and so many of them are very close on the votes that it can make a difference whether our lobbyists advocate for a certain bill one way or another. So it's important that we get our voice heard. I get one vote as being on the board of directors.
I know last year I could do both.
Did they allow you to do both?
Yeah, I did. I got 2 votes.
Are you going to be there for
Yeah.
it?
On Wednesday.
So you can be the
can help.
WSB too?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Because I could, then I'll change the name or do it. How do I do that?
Just contact, I can call John. It's going to be Tracy then?
Yeah.
For sure?
Yeah.
I did it last year and just
Okay,
voted for
that's
2.
fine.
They just gave me 2 clickers.
I mean, I show up for it if I can, unless I need to say anything. But
I'll tell them it's you, and I'll put you down. I'll tell them it's you as the alternative.
okay, cool.
So
That's good.
your name will be ready there.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Hyde. And then committee reports. Mrs. Boyer.
Yeah, Educational Services Committee met tonight. We had just a few things we went over. We went over the middle school guidebook. We just, some questions came up from some parents about being able to take band and choir at the same time in middle school and how we can make that more clear in the book. So Andy's going to take that back to his team and see if they can figure out a way to make all of that look good in the book so that parents can understand all those options. We also reviewed last time and this, we've been looking at a new science textbook, environmental science. Our board, the committee did vote unanimously to move that forward to the school board for a vote. That'll be on next month. We do approve that book from the committee. We think it's a good book. And then we continued our discussion on social emotional learning, which we will continue to have. There's a lot to go over, a lot to dig into. Hopefully we'll be able to have more time to do more of those, more talking. Right now our time is a little bit limited before the board meeting, so hopefully in the future we'll be able to stretch that time out a little bit longer and have longer discussions. But we're doing what we can in that time, and it's a good discussion to continue to have. We're uncovering some things and finding some good ways to get input and change some things. So we'll continue that, and that's our next meeting would be the next board meeting, February 13th. I look at my calendar for that. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Boyer. Okay, moving on. Item 8, resolution action items. A, referendum site work approval.
Motion to approve the Muskego High School site work bids for the referendum project as presented. You want me to go through each bid?
No.
Okay.
All right, discussion. So do we have discussion on this, or is there, or this is the bid, so?
Well, Dan's been here all night.
Yeah, all right, Dan.
Well, and I
Go
was gonna
ahead.
say, just a shout out to Jeremiah, to sending that, so I could see all 3 bids of each, so I knew what we were doing.
Okay, all right, Bree?
Do a quick update about dirt, everything that goes along with that. So this is our second bid package. We did the pre-engineered metal building a few months ago. So this is all the site work related to the high school. We currently have bid packages out for the additions and renovations at the high school, which is bid package 3. And we got bid package 4 is also out for the Lakeview gym addition. These results are just related to the high school. We got earthwork, so that's all of our modifications to the site to prepare for the buildings. New parking lots and the new pond that's getting dug out there. We invited 10 bidders. We had a budget of like 1.2 million, and we're a pretty tight group on bidders 1 and 2, but we recommend Edgerton for the earthwork scope work. Paving, this is mainly our new parking lots and tie-in points on the existing lots, along with line striping and signage. We had invited 4 bidders. We received 4 bids. Our design and development budget was just over 600,000, and kind of low bid is in the 450s. So we are winning there as well. Site concrete. This is all of the exterior sidewalks, curb and gutter, heavy-duty concrete approaches, and some stairs that are outside. We invited 10 bidders. We had a budget of like 560,000, and our low bid is Wandell Contractors at 481. Landscaping. This is the trees, shrubs, plantings, the lawn, mulch. There's some stone paths in the courtyard, and the maintenance for the initial growing season. We invited 16 bidders, received 4 bids. Design development budget was like 111,000, and our low bid is Environmental Solutions at 114. Site fencing. This is one of our bollards. There's some security gates through the new drive lanes. There's a crash rail to keep cars out of the pond, and we have some high poles for foul balls to keep them out of the parking lots from the softball fields. That's the biggest chunk of the scope there. We invited 6 bidders. Budget was about 120,000. The bid for that scope came in at just under 150,000, so a little bit higher, but there's a few kind of scope items that weren't in the original budget that kind of pushed that one up. Site utilities. This is basically removal of all of the utilities and relocating of them for the additions, as long as new storm, sanitary, and water utilities around the addition. The new addition footprint is sitting over the current lift station that lives out in the parking lot, so that has to get moved out of the way as one of the first items before the additions can start. That was a significant cost in this for this scope, but we invited 22 bidders. We had a budget just under 1.3 million. We got a tie basically for the low bid between BV Tetzloff and Cornerstone 1 within like $1,000. So it's a very, very tight group of bids. This is for the base bid scope of the work. Both contractors have mentioned that there are opportunities to make some tweaks to the design that will save additional dollars, right, to the tune of $20,000 to $30,000. So I guess I would ask that we're open to going with either one, pending the final decision on what savings that we can do above and beyond the numbers that are shown here. I haven't been able to touch base with the engineers to kind of talk through what options are good and which ones are acceptable or not. So if we can leave it open-ended, that it could be either BB Tetzloff or Cornerstone, depending the potential saving opportunities that still exist, that would give us some flexibility to get the right person for the job.
Under overall so far, right? Yeah.
So
Okay.
overall,
Yeah.
we're at 13,000
Yeah.
under. So we had some wins, we had some losses, but in total, we're still tracking toward our DD budget, which there's not too many projects that can say that right now, so.
And
we're
are
in
you
check.
looking for, on bid package 2, the site utilities, are you looking, Jeremiah, for us to add a second option?
Yeah, we would want to be able to approve either of the two.
Yeah, the final number will be lower than the 1.65 that's identified here. I just need a little more time to get that flushed out.
Do we need the name on there, or how do we, Julie, what do we actually need, the number or the name? The name?
We usually do both, the number and the name. We could list both names for that bid package, pending, final total bid package. We could go with the lowest bidder.
Okay.
Not to exceed, yeah.
All right. So then,
So Cornerstone 1 would be the other one?
Correct.
okay, I'll just write this down here. I'll wait until you're done, but then if there's any other additions we made, we'll couple that, amend it, and then, okay.
I just have a question about the, I think it was a site fencing that you were saying with the softball fields.
Mhm.
Does that also include the tennis courts and stuff along there?
No, the tall fencing, the 25-foot tall poles and fencing would just be the foul balls or foul lines of both softball fields as they're adjacent to the parking lot, the new parking lot that's going in.
Right. Because the paveway or whatever would be right along the tennis courts too, so I was just curious what we're planning on doing with that.
We do currently have the parking lot for the ESC adjacent to the tennis courts, and we haven't had any issues. I'm not going to say that balls don't occasionally make their way over, but I think a tennis ball hopefully do a little less damage to the softball.
I just didn't know if we had to put up netting there. That's going to be an additional cost. And then the second thing was about the pond. Where exactly is that located?
So it's east of the east softball field. So it's between, the east softball field and where the new practice facility and health and science addition is going.
So is there going to be a way to go around that or not?
The parking lot will go around it.
It will.
Yeah. So the big hitters will be able to get the ball into the pond, but
Essentially, the outfield closest to Racine Avenue, that outfield ring will be a pond. Good?
So we'll need a motion to amend, adding Cornerstone 1 to site utilities not to exceed 1.65. Right, sir?
Just make a friendly amendment that the second person who made the second would like to.
I would appreciate that.
Sure, I'd like the friendly amendment.
Does this second okay?
It was Kevin. Yes, it was you that was seconded, wasn't it?
I heard Lori.
Both of you did, so Lori, is it you? Okay.
Okay, then, are you okay with the friend, okay.
Okay.
All right, so then Cornerstone 1 is added to site utilities, NTE 1.650 million, right? Okay. All right, anything else? Any other discussion by the board on this? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
thank you.
Moving on, item B, resolution to establish a 66.0301 youth apprenticeship agreement.
Motion to approve the written resolution to establish a 66.0301 agreement with the Muskego Area School District starting in the 2023-24 school year as presented and read.
So moved.
Any discussion?
A little shorter than the first one we saw.
Yeah, I think they narrowed it down, so it's good. It looks good.
Yeah.
So, okay, all those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for the extra work on this. This looks really good. It's short. Moving on, item C, baseball turf approval.
Motion to approve Midwest Sport and Turf Systems to install turf on the varsity baseball field in the amount of $371,601.00.
Discussion. Yes?
Well, I had a few questions, and I'm not, so we've got these alternates here. Does that mean that those are out? If we're approving the base scope, which is $336,000 that we just read in?
The base scope is actually without some of the options that are in there as alternates. So we chose to add in our bullpens, which are currently stone and get weedy, and so essentially those will become maintenance free as well, and they're right off the sides of the infield. And we also added in the portable mound system. So we don't have to take those things, but we do feel like those things provide additional usability and less maintenance moving forward. The portable mound system allows us to move it forward and be used for softball. So there'll be pegs, base pegs in, so we can shorten the baseline. So in the event we want to have a softball tournament, we can move the bases in and move the pitching mound up. And then as noted, just the bullpens will just be maintenance free. They'll have a natural slope to them, so it'll feel like you're pitching from an elevated level downwards.
So for clarification, all of those are being added in?
Two of them are, so, bringing the total to 371,601.
Can you just clarify? No, he's adding, so you're adding the 336,350, and then adding to that the bullpens at 23,338, and then adding, I don't see an amount on here.
The bullpens are 35,251, and actually, yeah, the base bid is 336, and then the bullpens, that addition, which should bring us to the total. So the mound is included.
So it's the third alternate add option.
Correct.
And then when it says H&H detail of work, and then it lists the exclusions, I had three questions. Are those expected or cautionary? How much would they cost, and how would they impact the project if they need to be done?
Well, we've done the civil work through point of beginning of civil work, and there is, the water detention is actually underneath the turf system, so we don't need that. The permitting is traditional that we would pay for the permitting. Mowing, all of those things are usually left with us. So this is normal. This is what we did for our football turf, and there was nothing that was left.
So it's just sort of cautionary, like they put at the
Correct.
at the end of every drug ad.
Correct.
So actually, when you add it up, it's the turf field at 336,350, and then it's the last option of 35,251 that equals 371,601.
That's correct.
Any other discussion?
There's nothing else on the budget, Jeremiah, that we should be spending this money on, because this is a huge amount of money when we could possibly just grade and put some tiles in and
wish it were as simple as just grading and moving tiles, but that total cost, it's something that the city was up against as well, is almost equivalent to installing turf. So I think it brings us to a crossroads of thinking right now is an opportunity to better the facility while repairing it versus just repairing it. So this will increase usability. We should have no reason to cancel games unless we have lightning. My prediction is it'll get used twice as much, and right now it's a really nice facility that goes underused. So not just by our own teams, but by anybody that wants to rent our facilities too. So it's truly an enhancement. The labor on it's going to be way less intensive for the next 15 years. So I equate this to putting a roof on. It's an upgraded roof rather than going with a 15-year roof or going with a 30-year roof. Yes, it's pricey. I totally agree, but just for all of the rearranging of games and renting of other facilities and the amount of labor that goes into getting a game time prep, it's crazy. And our coaches expect that 20 minutes after a rain, we got the thing ready for their game. So it will be from here until the next 15 years after this is installed.
Yeah, because I mean, I did reach out to other schools, districts to find out what they were using, and all of the Waukesha school districts are using Frame Park, and the total amount of money that they're using to rent that out is $9,100.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, it's such a small amount compared to close to $400,000.
Yeah. It is our own facility too, and I know, we have nice facilities at Park Arthur, and we have a great relationship with the city to be able to use their site for tournaments and such, but to be able to use our own home site for games. We already have lights, a parking lot, a concession stand, bleachers. So there's been millions invested in the space already, so this is really just keeping it a viable option for us.
It goes in, you're saying 15-year life expectancy. What kind of maintenance on an annual basis difference are we seeing between gravel or dirt rather and this?
Yeah. I did send out a memo back in October that kind of listed our current costs. That would be the most definite thing to reference. But right now, the thing that you have to maintain most with the baseball diamond is pitchers still tend to dig in. So we went with this perfect mound system because it's actually a synthetic aluminum dome that doesn't see as much damage. But we will see some areas in front of like first base or some of the bases where sliding happens. And so we'll, like our football turf, we'll call in our vendor to come and patch those in on an annual basis. A lot of times our vendor does everything for free or teaches our grounds guys how to do it, and we just do those repairs. So I don't want to say it's perfect, but a lot more or less intensive than what we're doing now to keep the fields dry and viable.
So there's a $12,000 difference between alternate ad 1 versus 3, so do they need 2 rubbers and 2 home plates in each bullpen, or is that something that could be added later when we're in a better financial position given our referendum that we're currently funding?
Or is that for softball?
Just to clarify, this is 2 different buckets of money though.
It's still the taxpayers' money.
Sure.
So I'm just, it's $12,000, and I'm wondering, do we currently have 2?
We currently have 2. So the alternate ad for adding 1 perfect mound bullpen, the perfect mound is actually one that can be removed or put back. We're putting in 2 rubbers and 2 home plates, so it's not a perfect mound system. So rather than putting in 1 where we'd have to take it out and put it back, we're just grading it up so it's a natural surface. We're not moving the rubbers away or anything like that. Yes, we currently do have 2.
And you said both can be used for softball because we have to meet the needs of both girl and boy.
Yeah, these areas can be used for softball as well, and the field is playable for softball. And in addition, I'll be bringing forward the replacement of softball fencing. So we'll be replacing the fencing, which is currently heaved for softball, to match up to the referendum ad of the nets to protect the parking lot. So it'll be a backstop of netting, and then we will do with our capital budget the rest of the fencing. So that should come forward at one of our upcoming meetings. So we're still doing work to both fields.
So getting back to my very first question to you, is there anything else on the you know, like your capital budget that you're gonna need money for, that this is gonna cause some problems?
This is within the budget, and we currently use a weighting system. It's called a Trago model that we put in any of the items that anybody brings forward. So I know my roofs, we know our parking lots, everything that needs servicing. There's a lot of things that are on the docket. We weight those things according to 7 different criteria, and right now this is raising to the top. At one point it was the pool, at another point it was the bathrooms here. So it's not an arbitrary throw a dart at the board, see what we want to pick up. We do have a way to look at the metric as far as what is the highest thing. We're in really good shape right now as far as our capital plan because we have a brand new middle school, almost a brand new elementary school. The high school is undergoing significant renovations coming up. So this is a good pocket to be doing projects like this that will enhance the facility that we currently have.
So, Julie, if I can ask you, when we put in our high school football turf, we were planning on dedicating a certain amount, what we were putting towards maintenance every year, towards a new one in 30 years down the road or whatever the time frame was.
8 years.
Pardon me?
8 years.
8 years? And, okay.
We put about 36,000 from Fund 10 to Fund 46, and we reserve it there, and we've been accumulating that.
Now, of course, that's a logical escrow, so to speak, right? I mean, you could take that money for something else, but it is, we're planning on it. Are we planning on doing anything like this for this turf as well? You said it's a 30-year turf, Jeremiah?
Really after 15 years. But
Okay, 15.
But it isn't a one-for-one. The initial investment is to get that understructure, the stormwater, and then it's more of a carpeting replacement as you go, so a less significant cost
Right.
after.
Okay.
As we review the capital plan, the replacement cycle for items such as these is incorporated as we think moving forward. So it becomes part of our budgeting process as we do our zero-based process.
So we're doing the same thing, though. We're planning, we're taking some of that money and planning at least, and I'm sure as we progress down the road, it'll continue to, hopefully, there's some sort of way that you have that
Right, now that we have
designated.
Now that we have Fund 46 and we have that ability to expense it in the year that we're moving it, so we don't have that tax impact in the future, that's our plan, is to continue to move money into that Fund 46 to support the replacement of capital items in the future.
So just out of curiosity, for both the football turf and this turf, was the maintenance that we were planning, that's already built into the budget? I mean, that, what do we?
New maintenance or the replacement?
The replacement. So right now, we're moving how much for the turf roughly? For the, let's say the high school football?
36,000.
Okay, 36. So we've got that planned in our budget?
That's correct.
To move. Okay.
It's a line item in our budget.
It's not just hopefully we'll be saving 36,000, we can move that. We'll be doing that 36 plus hopefully anything else we might be able to save that's going against us this year.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Does the baseball field have a sponsor?
We do not have a sponsor.
Would that be something that the district would look into, potentially get a sponsor for the field to offset some of the costs?
Something that we could always explore for any facility, yeah.
Any further?
Discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jeremiah. Moving on, item D, open enrollment seats for 2023-24.
Motion to approve the following open enrollment seats for the 2022-23 school year as presented.
Any discussion? So you have before you the three. Do you have any specific questions for Jeff, or do you want Jeff to briefly go through them?
The only thing I'm concerned about is kindergarten, having 0. Does that make you nervous?
Well, every year, that's the hardest number to be able to predict. So what we take a look at when we make a determination for January seats is the number of kindergarten enrollments that grow once registration happens through March, through the end of the summer. And we're able to revisit that come June, come July, once we have registrations that start to roll in. Otherwise, right now, it is a really tough number to be able to predict. So we've been able to open seats in the past. but that comes during the summertime. Yep, our enrollment, projected enrollment and space availability is exactly as what you see.
Any other discussion on the open enrollment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jeff. Moving on, item E, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Motion to approve with thanks the following donations. Muskego High School Robotics, PPG via the Blackbird Giving Fund, $1,000. Regal Rexnord, $6,000. Catherine Maupin via the Blackbird Giving Fund, Marathon Petroleum, $500. Yvonne Narin via Charities Aid Foundation, Northwestern Mutual, $500. To the Muskego High School Girls Soccer Club, Muskego Warriors Soccer Booster Club, $1,053 to support expenses for the spring 2023 tournament in lacrosse. Muskego High School Activities, Star Veterinary Group, $500 to support Warrior Winterizer Marketing. And Jade Royston via Eye in the Sky Sports LLC, $1,000.
Any discussion? Thank you. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved with gratitude. Moving on, item 9, discussion items, 2023-24 budget placeholder. Okay, item 10, you have before you for information follow-up, financials, the personal information memo, and item C, communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. I have none to offer. This time, having no other business before this Board of Education, a motion to adjourn is in order. All those in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.